Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hard Hats and High Tech, the podcast from RIB Software where we speak to the people shaping the future of the construction industry. I'm your host, Bernardita Calzon, speaking to you from my office in Santiago, in Chile, and today I'm really excited to be joined by Matthew Miles from Melrose. Melrose is a construction company based in Queensland, Australia, with a reputation for delivering high-quality fit-outs and new structures across the sectors of childcare, commercial, retail, industrial, and office. Matthew has extensive experience in the pre-contract responsibilities of a construction project, particularly in the areas of measurement, estimating, and cost planning. He's also an enthusiastic user of RIB CostX. From saving hours of tedious work to giving him greater confidence and control over tenders, forecasts, and collaborations, Matthew is going to be sharing how CostX has enhanced his estimating process. He's also going to be sharing some valuable tips to help you improve your process as well. Hi, Matthew. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Should we get started talking all things about CostX?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. How long have you been using RIB CostX and what do you use it for the most?
I started using RIB CostX probably about 12 years ago now, when I was based in the UK. The company I used to work for, Gleeds, I used it there initially just as a measurement tool. Really, we didn't really use the I suppose the workbooks at that stage. We typically transferred the measurement into Excel, which over time, once I moved to Australia, we started using the whole software as it should be used, and never looked back.
Okay, so it sounds like you've been using it for a while now. So I'm curious about how was your estimating process before you started using the tool?
Yeah, so typically it was a lot of, I suppose, hand measurement and then a transfer of that data to Excel. Obviously, hand measuring drawings can take a significant amount of time. And also that transfer of data between a drawing and a bill of quantities on paper to Excel is quite risky. You know, all it takes is the wrong input of data and all of a sudden you're finding it hard to find where the issues are. So quite clunky, old, slow.
Okay, well, it sounds like then this technology really enhanced your process and saved you a lot of time. Now, what about your typical tender or bid process? How do you manage it now with CostX?
So we probably started using workbooks and then the subcontractor comparison workbook probably six years ago. When I was working for a QS consultancy before I moved into estimating, we only used the workbooks and the measurement to obviously cost plan, which was a really, I suppose, useful function. But then when we moved into estimating, we learned the subcontractor comparison workbook, which then enabled us to keep all of our estimating data within CostX. And that avoids any, like say, transfer of numbers or data outside of that system, so that there's no errors really, because obviously you've got your measurement, your dimension groups, which are linked to your workbook and to your sub comparison, all linked to quotes from our subcontractors. So it's definitely streamlined the process and definitely has made it a lot more robust and less risk, I suppose, in the system. And I know a lot of others in Australia do use it for that as well.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. I mean, I guess especially with this measurement aspect of your work, not having to do it manually and being able to have all of the data in the same place must be super, super valuable. Now, you have mentioned already a little bit of some key features from CostX, like the subcontractor comparison or the live workbooks. But what is like your favorite feature that you want to really, really talk about here?
I think for me personally, I've seen the the ability, I suppose, the benefit to our business that a subcontractor comparison has. When you've got, 4 or 6 quotes for each trade, and you can obviously you write your scope of works, you measure your scope of works, which is live linked to your measurement, and then also have your subcontractor comparison, which will then analyze the quotes you receive on a line by line basis. That can really sort of give you a competitive edge and can really allow you to sort of analyze and really break down the data you have in front of you to really, I suppose cover all risks and then create, that sort of competitive advantage against others. Because I've seen ways people do it where it's almost listed on a page, or, it's still in Excel and it's really hard to understand, what's in and what's out. And the subcontractor comparison tool really allows us to get into the nuts and bolts of quotes and pricing, and it really makes huge difference to our business.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear. It sounds like a really, really valuable future from what you're mentioning. Now, I know you also take care a lot of cost forecasting, which is also a really important part of pre-construction. So how do you manage cost forecasting in CostX, considering how projects are changing all the time?
Yeah, I think so. I suppose in my previous role, we didn't really use it through the project life cycle, so to speak. It was typically just handed to the project team. But what we're trying to implement now is uniform cost codes that run through CostX into our finance system, into our sort of procurement system, so that we're aligning all the cost codes throughout. So when we do get a subcontractor comparison, we can obviously use the trade breakdown and the cost codes and input that into our finance system, which is basically tracking line by line, the cost at tender, and then we can start tracking and cash flow the forecast through the job. And then also we can extrapolate the outturn cost of what the project's, the outturn at the end of the job, to understand, okay, have we missed concrete, or have we missed concrete pumping, or, really start to understand where the risks are, the issues, and learn from those mistakes. So I really feel like that's starting to get into our business now, which is really sort of going to be impactful and really helpful moving forward.
Okay, and does the platform maybe help allow you to use some historical data also to try to predict those risks that you were mentioning?
Yeah, I mean, so there's obviously the benchmarking resources through our RIB, but we typically we've used obviously a lot of data in the past from previous jobs and trade breakdowns, because our cost codes are all the same. So it doesn't matter what job you have a benchmark against each cost code. So we know from the estimating team, right, this particular item is cost coded to XYZ, and that allows us to then formulate and build a database of prehistoric, historic data, which we can then use to benchmark and go from there.
So you can use that to be confident that your estimates are super accurate, right?
Hopefully.
That's the goal, I guess. Okay, so you have mentioned several benefits so far about the platform, but I also wanted to ask you, for people that maybe are new users or are thinking about investing in this tool, how was the learning curve for you? Is it easy? Is it hard to start with CostX?
I think it's like anything, I suppose. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. When I first started, it's like any business, I suppose. People only have a finite resource to help you and guide you and sit down with you every day to help you. So I think for me, it was relatively easy to pick up because I've used it for so long. And when I first started, I had a lot of, graduates and similar people the same age around me. And the company I was with at the time had a really robust, graduate program and training program. So I got a lot of experience from others. But CostX itself has obviously all the YouTube tutorials, has the advanced manual, heaps of resources that you can use to help you. I really feel like the advanced manual is great for anybody. It tells you exactly what you need to do to start. and as soon as you set up a dimension group, you can start measuring, and I found it really easy.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I guess that's encouraging for anyone who is listening who wants to get started. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
resources out there.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from that a little bit, we know that collaboration is a huge, huge aspect in construction. I guess no process can be done without collaborating in a project. So, how do you manage collaboration within CostX? Are you able to work with other people from other departments?
Yeah, so typically what we really encourage, and I suppose, obviously there's only a finite number of licenses we can purchase, as a business. I suppose we can't go and invest in 50 licenses, for example, or whatever it may be, and only use 3 of them. So it's, so we purposefully ensure that all our project teams and all of our team members have CostX Viewer. Once we've obviously estimated the project, once we've won the project, we export the whole CostX file. The guys can use CostX Viewer to then go in, understand the scope, look at the measurements, see if there's any, concerns or opportunities, and then really start to use that software to then, drill in and help us improve, not only mitigate risks, but improve the opportunities in the project as well. So there's a lot of functions on there that really assist in collaborating between the teams, and our teams are definitely starting to get used to using CostX to really help them and develop the scope of works that they need to develop, and that's a lot of that work's done up front, but then we can carry that through, and CostX really lends itself to that sort of collaboration, and really good.
That's great to hear. And you mentioned CostX Viewer there. I want to stop there a little bit. So can you talk to us a little bit more about CostX Viewer? What is it about? Do you need a license to access it, or?
No, so it's a great, obviously it's a great free resource from RIB. All of our teams, we stipulate that everyone has CostX Viewer on their laptop, and that just enables everyone to have visibility over the whole tender process. Which subcontractors have been selected, what exclusions are in each scope, where the measurements have come from, so they can still obviously go in. It has all the drawings, has the live link, so they can see where the measurements have been taken off from. For free, which is awesome, and a great tool for us.
So a great tool for collaboration.
Yeah.
Now, what's one tip you could give to an estimator who's just starting with CostX?
Good question. Just keep learning. I think for me, it's starting with the advanced manual, the CostX manual. Like it's a really easy resource to use. Like it's not. It looks complicated because it's got a lot of pages, but when you actually start breaking it down, it's really easy to follow step by step. And it's all about trial and error as well. I'd set up an example workbook and project in CostX and start there, importing drawings, learning how to scale, and just taking it step by step, which CostX does a really good job at laying that out in the manual and obviously on YouTube, and they've got heaps of little seminars on there and tools and tips. There's heaps of resources for you to use and learn.
Okay, so taking it step by step and not be scared with this whole technology thing that some people are really scared of.
And that's it. Like it's like any new sort of technology, you can sort of, you get a bit overwhelmed with it, and super easy.
Okay, now before we finish, I want to ask you a little bit of a more of a funny question, let's say, because you have mentioned that CostX has helped you save time, get rid of these manual error-prone tasks, take care of your risks and everything. So if CostX disappeared tomorrow, what would you miss the most of it?
It'd have to be the measurement, dimension group measurement use. Obviously, a lot of people I know in the industry use Bluebeam, which is just almost a PDF measurement tool. But obviously, with CostX, it's all within one place. It's all live linked and everything. So, that would be. I'd struggle to do that by hand. It'd be really difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure any manual tedious task is really annoying today in this digital
100%.
age. So that's good advice. Yeah. Okay, well, Matt, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a really interesting conversation. It sounds like you've been really extracting all of the benefit from the platform. So I hope you can keep doing that. And thank you for joining us. And to our listeners, we'll be back with another episode very soon.